Well, hello there. My name is Mark Miles. As many of you know, I absolutely love helping trainers and presenters really take their, learning experiences for their audiences to the next level. So in today's video, I want to talk about a question that I got from one of my coaching clients. And she was first starting out as a trainer, and it was actually in the medical field. And she was struggling. She was really struggling because her learners were just not getting involved, were not engaged in her session. And I don't know if you can relate, but a lot of times when you're first starting out as a presenter or a trainer, one of the biggest things that people struggle with is how do you take a monologue and turn it into a dialogue. What I mean by that is when people are first starting out, they believe it is all about the content. They believe it is all about standing up and saying the right things. And in this video, I want to share with you some tools, tactics, and mindset shifts that you can have so that you can really get your audiences engaged in everything that you are doing. And I find it quite funny that people ask this question. My learners aren't engaged. What do I do? My learners won't cooperate. What do I do? My learners aren't interested. What do I do? And often in the pretext of that question itself, there is a sense of projecting the result onto the learners and not really taking a look in the mirror and going, potentially, what am I doing or not doing that's causing my learners to be engaged or not engaged? And one thing that we really need to make a conscious point of is that engagement with our learners is our decision. Engagement is our decision. Engagement is a decision. When we, as trainers, educators, facilitators, public speakers, presenters, whatever we'd like to call ourselves, walk in front of an audience, we are making a conscious choice. And essentially, it may sound crude, but the question that we're always asking ourselves, consciously or unconsciously, is do I want to bore this audience or do I want to engage this audience? Do I want to bore them or engage them? I'm hoping that you choose to engage your audience, right? And as I said, when we're first starting out, many times we believe it's about the quality of the PowerPoint or it's about how well we say things. And in this video, I want to give you 6.5 tips, so to speak, on how you can really create a lot more engagement with your audience and get them engaged in your sessions. So grab a pen, get ready to write. So first thing I want to suggest that you have is a shift in expectations or shifting the expectations in the room. What I mean by that is many times when an audience comes to you, in a learning capacity, they may have a belief that you are the source of the knowledge. They may believe, and you may believe when you walk in front of a group that you are the sole source of the information. And what I want to encourage you in the first point here is to shift the onus back onto your audience. Shift the onus and responsibility back onto your audience. You are not the source of the information, they are. I'll say it again. You are not the sole source of the information, they are. And it's a collaborative engagement, okay? So second thing I want to encourage you to do is mini reviews. What I mean by that is every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, you want to create a situation where the learners are sharing with each other what they have learned so far. And what I love to do with my learners is tell them, at regular points, grab a pen and write this down, grab a pen and write this down, grab a pen and write this down, grab a pen and write this down. And then at regular interviews, they share with each other what they've actually written down. And it's a great activity to get people to really review those ideas that's been covered, reactivate those neurons in their brain, but also set up the frame that unless they're taking notes, they're going to miss out, okay? It's very embarrassing when you get to mini review time and one student stands up and, shares with their partner has got nothing to share. It's a little bit awkward, right? So creating mini review times throughout your session is a great way to get people forcibly engaged in the session. Next thing, taking that to the next level, you may want to get audience members to research content or read through content or have a chat through content, and then share that with other groups. Okay, literally get learners teaching other learners. And the moment that you actually get your learners teaching each other, you force self-responsibility, self-accountability, and you get learners owning the content. Because any time that you actually have to teach something to someone else, you have to own it. And very quickly, you retain the content. So as a presenter or a facilitator or a trainer, I really want to encourage you to get your learners to teach each other. It's a very fast, accelerated learning technique that you can employ very easily. Next, point number 4. Change, 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 and variety are your best friends. If you're finding that your learners are disengaged, well, it may be because they are not actually seeing any variety, or they've got no reason to actually be involved in the session. And anytime that you can create a shift or a change, your learners are going to get more involved because they're going to be wondering, how are things going to happen next? What's going to happen? Is it going to go this way or that way? Is the presenter going to say this and we're going to do that, or something else? You see, as soon as you consistently deliver your content in the same way all the time, you're going to find your learners get passive and get disengaged. So around variety and change, if you're doing trainer-led discussions, great. Next, do pair work. Next, do something else. Next, do something else. Next, do something else. Because there's a variety in the change that keeps people actively engaged. And that leads to the next point, which is a really, really important tool that you can add to your tool belt as you deliver. Now, this thing is so powerful. This thing is something that hooks people's attention. This thing is something that gets people wondering what's going to happen next. This thing is the reason, it's the core reason why people watch a TV show and get hooked even more when it says to be continued. You see, this thing taps into human psychology. It's this thing. Probably by now, you're wondering what that thing is. It's a very simple thing. It's that thing of suspense, suspense, suspense. So you definitely want to grab a pen and write that down. Suspense is your number one biggest tool that you can add to your delivery skill set. And when you are creating artful suspense for a training session, you are going to find people are going to be even more actively engaged and wondering what's going to come next. How do you do it? How do you create suspense? Well, firstly, you can do it with your language and keep the punchline till the very end, or be deliberate in when you reveal information. Next, in your learning materials or your delivery content, you can actually put blanks on the slides or blanks in your material and get people wondering what the answers might be. You can create stories, and you can tell half the story at one point and tell half the story later on. That's totally fine. But think about where in your training sessions can you create artful suspense that people are wondering what's going to come next. Next, number 6, build relevance and a strong why for your audience. You see, you need to get in the habit of painting out the positives, of knowing the information you're about to go through, and the consequences of not knowing the information you're about to go through up front in your training sessions. You need to really get in the habit of knowing that why at the beginning makes all the difference. And you can also certainly create activities where people do fault finding. Maybe they watch a video and see the mistakes that other people are making. Maybe they do reflection activities where they look at their own mistakes or other people's mistakes, or they hear stories about where things have gone wrong when people haven't used the information that you're teaching them. You need to get active in the area of helping them build relevance for them and creating strategic ways to do that. All right, so just a final thought that I want to end on, and that is the idea that training should be a lazy job. Training, facilitating should be a lazy job. Now, you may be wondering, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean essentially is that Your audience should be doing more of the work than you are. Your audience should be doing more of the work than you are, because the transformation happens in them, not you. The transformation happens when they go through activities or experiences that you set up, you create, and that you deliver. And ultimately, as a trainer, presenter, we are there to help our audiences have a change in thoughts or a change in actions so that ultimately they have a change in their lives. And when we are delivering content, getting our audiences to be engaged is our responsibility. And the more that we can set up the learning framework to make that happen by default, the more it's automatically going to happen. Okay. But if you are standing there going, my audience aren't engaged, what's going wrong? Well, maybe it's not the what you're saying, but how you're saying it. Okay. So just to recap, number one, shift those expectations. Put the onus back on your audience to be doing the work. Number two, do regular mini reviews and create in reasons for them to be taking notes and then sharing those learnings with each other. Number three, get them to teach each other the content that they've just gone through. And next, you want to create variety as much as you can in how you deliver the information. And you want to get people working with different people. And next, you want to be creating suspense and moments and regular moments of suspense throughout your training experience for your learners. You want to be creating relevance for your learners and helping them see relevance and tying it back into their lives and how it's going to help them. And as I said, my final thought is that they should be doing the work, not you. All right. So even if you're showing a PowerPoint, you're showing PowerPoint slides, that's cool. But at many regular moments throughout that PowerPoint, you want to be getting them doing activities to take in the information, not just receive it. Okay. And you want to make sure that engagement is your focus point and your decision. It's not just something that you battle with, so to speak. Be conscious, be deliberate in how you create that engagement. Okay. So thanks so much for watching the video. And at the end of the day, engagement is something you get better and better at creating over your career as a trainer or presenter. Thanks so much for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and see you on the next video. Bye for now.